Beyond the Connected Vehicle Conference, focusing on making transportation safer, cheaper, and greener. Produced by Advanced Mobility Project and supported by these fine companies: Magna, NextEnergy, Infor, ITS 2014 World Congress, Michigan Economic Development Corporation, EY, Bosch, Nectec Power Systems, and Detroit Public Television. Now, the Beyond the Connected Vehicle Conference, live from NextEnergy Center.
Good morning. I'm Jean Redfield, and I'm the CEO here at NextEnergy. And I'm really pleased to have you all here at the center. We're really excited about a great day today. We think we've lined up some great speakers, some great panels, and really mix it up a little bit about what's out there beyond the connected vehicle. Before we get started, though, I thought I'd take just a couple minutes to tell you a little about who we are, what we do, and why we think advanced mobility is so critical. First of all, NextEnergy, who we are. We are basically an accelerator for advanced energy technologies. We think we're one of the leading accelerators in the US. We were founded about 10 years ago in 2002 as a nonprofit, specifically to drive investment and job creation in advanced technologies in Michigan. To drive investment, we do basically three things. We provide services, we host demonstrations and commercialization activities here at the center, and we provide input to policy. We're not policy wonks or lobbyists, but we know that transportation and energy policy matters, and that's why we work with policymakers to make sure that market barriers are addressed and market levers or incentives or accelerated are invented. Let's talk a little bit about how we do what we do. We use a whole suitcase of analytical tools to really get out there and explore what's next in advanced energy. We look at value chains and technology roadmaps and innovation pipelines, really to understand what's the possibilities, what are those unmet market needs that new technologies can address. So we look out into the future to assess market trends, to understand technology pipelines and the investments that are going into those pipelines, and then the policy issues associated with next generation technologies. We work in a variety of industry sectors. It's not so much what technology area we focus on, but the methodology about how we do our work. So over the 12 years or so that we've been around, we've worked in a number of sectors, including energy efficiency, energy storage, and power electronics, the core technologies for the built environment, renewables, next generation, how do we produce energy, and we're moving more and more into the mobility and transportation initiatives, leveraging our electric vehicle infrastructure work that we've done. Our list of services include both soft services and hard asset-based services. We provide business consulting, basic strategy making, go-to-market strategy, first market penetration, work to help small and medium companies and startups accelerate towards a bright future. We do a lot of technology vetting, understanding does the technology work, and if it does work, why would it matter? Is it better than what people are using today? Is it meeting an unmet market need? And then we do a lot of work to create matchmaking and partnerships, helping create access to funding. We know that technology commercialization, particularly in energy and transportation, is very investment intensive, and that having the right access to funding all along that commercialization process is a really important aspect of accelerating commercialization efforts. So we provide a lot of matchmaking and preparation to make sure that startups and small companies get the funding that they need to keep moving further faster. Then we do hard asset-based services here at the center. Our center is a 2.8-acre campus in Midtown Detroit. We're right in the center of an innovation corridor. In the Detroit metro area, there's more IP, engineering talent, PhD, and MDs than almost anywhere else on the planet. And we're sitting right in the middle of that innovation district. Our center is a pretty unique place. It's designed for convening and connecting. We have a large conference facility, if you will, where we're able to bring together industry players, leaders at the state, local, and national levels, upstream entrepreneurs from research universities and the national labs, and downstream OEM and industry global leaders to really mix it up and come together to create the kind of collaborations and partnerships that are necessary to move commercialization further faster. We also have about 18,000 square feet of lab space where companies can come and incubate their technologies and their businesses. And this just happens to be a picture of one of the companies that's incubating here called NextEnergy Power Systems. They produce DC power networks. And then the third thing we do is host testing and demonstration programs on our assets here. NextEnergy builds public-private partnerships that bring together some of the publicly funded assets with private innovation to accelerate commercialization. As I mentioned, transportation and energy technologies are asset intensive, and so we've built the center to include some of those base infrastructure assets that are so critical to proving out new technologies. And we'll talk just about a couple of those platforms that are here at the center. The first is our microgrid pavilion. We were one of the first in the country to be able to do microgrid research. We have a microgrid that is able to mimic any power system on the planet, so that when a technology company comes to demonstrate here, they're not just trying it out for the North American market, they can try it out for any market on the planet. Not only does it mimic operating systems, it also can mimic any kind of an outage or disruption to the grid. So they can understand how their technology works under undesirable conditions as well as the planned conditions. And that's a really important aspect of technology development in a world where resiliency matters. Another of the platforms here is our electric vehicle infrastructure. We've got a whole host of vehicle charging infrastructure here, ranging from the commercially available electric vehicle charging systems to a number of developmental systems that include DC charging, high voltage, bidirectional charging, so that the energy storage device, the battery in the vehicle, can actually be available to the grid for grid reliability and stability. And then one of the newest platforms here at NextEnergy is something we're calling Next Home, which is literally a residential platform to test out technologies for the future connected home. It's outfitted with DC power networks. It'll have photovoltaic solar generation on the roof. And it's designed to allow technologists to come in and test their products, demonstrate how they work in a microgrid setting, in a connected setting, and in a high-efficiency DC power network-driven setting. In a way, it's a living lab for companies to come and demonstrate how their technology fits in a system and how it delivers both the consumer experience, the performance attributes, and hopefully the energy efficiency that comes from a future connected world. A little bit about our impact. In our first 10 years, we worked with hundreds of companies, all of the major universities in Michigan, as well as a number of other leading institutions, a number of federal agencies, and our philanthropic organizations. And with their support, we've been able to attract over $1.3 billion in investment to Michigan. In addition, we've attracted $150 million to the center for programs. Between 2011 and 2013, 44 of our client companies were able to generate 443 patents, copyrights, and trademarks. They entered into 91 licensing agreements. They commercialized 67 new products. They were able to attract $115 million in new funding, over half of which came from the private sector. And they won $169 million in new business. They had to spend $89 million in plant and capital expansions in order to support that new business, for a total of 383 new jobs created or retained. A great track record for 44 startups and small companies in 2 years. Shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about advanced mobility. First, what is it? For NextEnergy, advanced mobility is a system of systems that moves people, goods, information, and energy efficiently. And what's important about this idea is the idea of system of systems. The recognition that it's not going to be a single killer app, it's not going to be a single product offering, it's not going to be a single industry player that creates the future of advanced mobility. But it'll be across industries, across product platforms, and through connected technologies that advanced mobility is actually already happening. Why do we think advanced mobility is here to stay? Well, we see a number of key drivers that are already in place so that advanced mobility is already happening. The first driver is clearly population growth and urbanization. There's currently over 7 billion people on the planet, soon to be 9 billion. And we've already passed the tipping point where more than half of the people on the planet live in cities. With that kind of population growth and urbanization, the potential for significant resource scarcity and environmental degradation if we over-rely on personal autos for mobility is very real. In addition, the potential to overstrain our infrastructure, roads and highways and even parking systems, is a problem. So clearly those issues are driving advanced mobility solutions that include more than just the personal auto. In addition, the information and communications technologies, ICT, that support advanced mobility is at a level of maturity and ubiquity that it's making advanced mobility very real right now. And then, of course, there's the proliferation of smartphones. Everybody's connected all the time. That's another key trend that is driving advanced mobility. In addition to the soft trend and the hard trends, there are a number of soft trends that are underlying advanced mobility options. The first and probably the most important are consumer behavior shifts. There are already segments of the population for whom owning a car is not necessarily an aspiration, is not necessarily viewed as the most attractive form of mobility. Millennials, our older citizens, our lower income citizens, and folks that live in highly congested environments. So clearly those changes in consumer preferences are driving an explosion of mobility options. In addition, there's new business models that have been evolving that are more about collaborative consumption versus ownership. So sharing, bartering, fee for service are all already emerging as options that are supplanting the idea of owning the asset, the car. In addition, the basics around connected transportation, multimodal options, and the convergence of ICT and transportation are really underlying mobility trends. Why NextEnergy in this advanced mobility space? First, we've been recognized as a forward-leaning, forward-looking innovation center that's really focused on what's next. So to some degree, we're getting pulled in by the work that we've done in the energy space. We've got a pretty strong track record and history of working in a multi-industry, multi-technology environment to get to solutions. We also recognize that there's a number of common technologies between energy and transportation. The basics around power electronics, energy storage, power conditioning controls, the sensors and controls technologies, and then the ICT to make it all safe and reliable are common to both energy and transportation. We also know that the future of advanced mobility is going to be driven by collaborative and public-private partnerships. And NextEnergy has a long history and strong track record in forming public-private partnerships. And lastly, we think that advanced mobility is really critical to the economic future of our region, Southeast Michigan. We already know that Michigan is the auto capital of the world. With the R&D centers here, the IP and innovation here, the basic history of inventing, innovating in the auto industry, we are recognized as the global auto center. But we also know that if we don't successfully transform to a global center for advanced mobility, there's a real risk that in our lifetimes, we end up serving niche markets. So with NextEnergy's mission around driving investment and supporting job creation and job retention in technology commercialization, we believe that advanced mobility is critical to the economic future of Michigan. So with that, I'd like to introduce our partner, AutoBeat Group, and we'll introduce and get going on the day. We're excited to have you all here. We've got a great lineup for you, a number of great keynotes and panels, and we're going to be looking forward to really exploring what's beyond the connected vehicle. Thanks so much for being here.
Jean, thank you. I want to take a moment to tell you how much we appreciate the support of NextEnergy in helping us put on this conference and providing us such a terrific venue for it.
Great.
Thanks very much.
We're really excited to have you all here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Good morning, everyone. I am Bill Hampton, the publisher of the AutoBeat Group, and the Advanced Mobility Project, which is putting on this conference, is a new product for us. Let me just take a moment to tell you what the Advanced Mobility Project is all about. AMP is, if you will, is a new initiative of the AutoBeat Group, which is best known for its daily newsletters for automotive executives, led by AutoBeat Daily. These publications get to about 150,000 subscribers worldwide, and what they do is deliver a succinct, to-the-point summary of the information, the news that those executives need to know every day. Now we're applying the same concept to the world of mobility. This is our first event, this conference. Welcome. I want you to know that this is the first of several. We have many other events to come, one of which is the television show that we are producing with Detroit Public Television, which will be airing later this year. Now, this show is going to get a lot of content from today's conference. I don't want to put too much pressure on the speakers, but I sure hope they are all brought their best insights for you today, because we'll be taping everything. We're live streaming this event, so for those of you who are viewing us from somewhere else, welcome wherever you are. You'll be able to find that stream in about the middle of next week for on-demand viewing as well. So we will have it available through the Advanced Mobility Project.com website and through Detroit Public Television. In that format, you'll be able to pick and choose, if you wish, different sessions and different speakers. So we're very excited about that. I'm sure everyone here recognizes that the options people have to get from A to B are about to expand very, very dramatically. It's starting to happen now, of course, but this whole subject is really just getting started, and the topic is relatively unknown to many consumers. So the objective of the Advanced Mobility Project is to get the word out about this coming sea change in personal transportation. We're doing it with conferences like this. We're going to do it with the mobility website that I mentioned. This site is a place to get balanced news about new mobility and developments. It's a place to see insightful videos on that subject. We'll have pivotal reports available there for visitors about trends and developments that are shaping the future of transportation. The AMP site is for the public. It's for those of you in the new mobility space, and it's for policymakers and legislative bodies whose decisions are going to play a very critical role in defining the playing field for new mobility. A word about what to expect today. New mobility is a very, very broad subject, as most of you know. Our goal today is to illustrate with speakers and panelists who bring a wide range of perspectives, opinions, and experience what this breadth is all about. I'm not so sure we're going to solve the mysteries of transportation here today, but I do hope you will come away with a better sense of the possibilities that lie ahead and how to turn them into reality. Finally, I'd like to thank our sponsors and exhibitors. Without them, we would be, well, speechless today. In addition to NextEnergy and Detroit Public Television, these sponsors include Magna International, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation in Pure, Michigan, Infor Automotive, the ITS 2014 World Congress, which is going to be held later here in Detroit, the EY Global Automotive Center, Bosch, and finally Nextech. Thank you all. So let's get started. I'm delighted to introduce our morning keynote speaker, Nick Pudar. Nick is Director of Urban Active Solutions at General Motors. His mission in that role is to address global mobility challenges in urban environments. That means exploring new products, new services, and new vehicle access business models. This is not a new subject for Nick. Before his current assignment, he headed GM's initiative to engage the developer community to help create new connectivity options for vehicles. And before that, he was Vice President of Business Development at GM's OnStar subsidiary. Nick will start us off with a look at where the connected vehicle came from and where it's going. So, ladies and gentlemen, Nick Pudar.
Thanks, Bill.